worst nightmare is didn't happen. There are people in the audience. Thanks everybody, it's great to see you all. At Dragoncon? Yeah. Met a lot of great people, shook a lot of hands. I saw a lot of cool costumes, a lot of good Superman costumes. Right on. A lot of cute little kids in Superman, Supergirl costumes. Had some good food. Yes. Which is key to any trip that I have. Find a good place to eat.
What about what brings you here? Any projects that might have brought you as an invited guest?
It's really strange. I did this soap opera.
Soap opera.
About 10 years ago. Is that why I'm here?
Probably.
I didn't know there was that much support for.
We have guests that haven't done work that long.
There was somebody that came up to me. Was like, I watched you on One Life to Live. I was like, wow. I'm sorry, but thank you.
I love it. Hey, Sarah, you got a line, sister?
Yes.
Awesome. What's the first question of the day?
Hello, I'm not sure if you can see me, but I'm dressed as Knife's Chow, so I just wanted to ask if you could punch the highlights out of my hair. But for serious, I was just wondering what it was like to work with Bryan Singer on Superman. He's one of my favorite directors. So.
Well, for serious, he's a serious genius. I think he's an amazing filmmaker. It was a great, great opportunity for me, an amazing opportunity, it was and is kind of a hard thing to top. Just have that be my first film, and to be someone who's really great at the genre, and not just that, but everything else that you've seen his other work. If you haven't seen Valkyrie, which is the latest that came out, it's a really, really, really good film. I recommend it anyway. It was truly just an amazing thing. He loved, Superman a lot, so it was great to work with someone who's very passionate about the character and the project that he's working on. That's always important, because you don't always get that in Hollywood. A lot of people are here just to make money, and they don't really care about the quality of the projects that they make, and he really does. So that's a blessing.
A good answer. Next question.
Hi, I wasn't able to make the world record attempt for number of superhero costumes in one place, but I understand that you attended that. No, you didn't?
It was here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but you didn't go.
I was here in Atlanta.
Okay, never mind.
I'm always around. Does that count?
Okay, never mind. Different question then. My mistake. My actual question then would be, could you talk a little bit about the other roles you've had since the Superman movie, and how in some of them you kind of, make a nod to that and then move on with the character, and whether that's your idea or the writer's idea, or how does that do you think that kind of frees you up if you just kind of acknowledge that and then move on and hope the audience forgets it? What's that like for you to kind of keep going back to that?
Thanks for bringing that up. I think that obviously in several of the movies that I've done, there's a little bit of tongue-in-cheek jokes happening. Certainly with Scott Pilgrim playing Todd Ingram. Thank you. And if you haven't paid to see the movie yet, please do so and bring 10 friends. Write chain letters to people, and it's an amazing film anyway. So I just have to. More people need to see it in the theater because it's an amazing theatrical experience. That's my plug on that. So certainly that was part of Edgar Wright's genius plan. Was the fact that I played Superman and having me be Todd Ingram and play against that, be a bad guy versus the ultimate good guy, and go against Michael Cera, who's much smaller than I am. All those things, playing all those opposites.
I heard he taught you how to play guitar.
Well, he did kind of teach me a thing or two. I mean, Michael really plays guitar. He's an excellent musician. He plays more than just guitar. I think he does other instruments as well. And I had to learn to play bass. And I had training when I was in Los Angeles, but when I got to Toronto, we had our first practice session. And if you've seen the movie, you know that his bass parts are kind of easier than mine in the bass duel that we have. And so he played them, you know, he's like, what's your part? And I struggled through trying to play it for him. And he goes, oh, this? And he just like, without ever having practice, plays it perfect. So in the movie, I'm supposed to be better than he is, but in real life, he's a better bass player than I am. So there's that. And with Zack and Miri, I think, to answer go back to the question, thank you, Kevin Smith, and Justin Long, and everyone else in that. But because of, you know, I think that was kind of playing on opposites, or what you know, kind of shock value of that, having me play that character was definitely involved. And those are the two right now, other than some small little comedic things I've done on one thing on the internet that I did, which was kind of funny to do. It was kind of, it wasn't tongue-in-cheek, but doing comedy anyway, I think people think it's tongue-in-cheek because it's something different. Or playing a bad guy. I guess playing a bad guy on Chuck was, you know, that turned out to be, I think, in Chris Reeves and Josh Schwartz's minds, kind of a cool thing for them to have me be a good guy and turn a bad guy. So, yeah, that's playing the opposite of Superman has given me jobs. So that's a good thing.
Everybody likes a job. This Sarah, what is needs, darling?
What was the hardest part, both at the time and moving forward, about assuming the legacy of Superman?
What was the hardest part? What was it? Let me count the ways. I think the thing that weighed on me most was we were there filming for basically 7-8 months in Sydney, Australia, and I was, you know, working out every day and in the harness and flying, and then doing, you know, scenes where actually I got to speak, and all of that. People would come to set, grown men and children alike would kind of sometimes cry because they'd get, you know, come on set to meet me, friends of cast or whatever, which was kind of a crazy thing because nobody had seen the movie yet. So I'm wearing the suit, playing Superman, but not quite knowing if not quite totally feeling like a Superman because people hadn't seen the movie. So that was kind of the hardest. That was the hard part, and that just goes, you know, throw that in the bag of just not knowing how people are going to react to it, and if I've done a good enough job to satisfy the majority, because you can't satisfy everyone, certainly. So that was the hardest part. So that's you know, fulfilling legacy, all of those things, you know, people's expectations. It, you know, runs the whole gamut, basically. Matthew Patel.
How you doing, Mr. Routh?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Can you guys, am I enunciating all right? Can you guys hear me? All right? Okay. Thank you.
Now, when you hear Hollywood stars, you know, doing interviews when it comes to filming superhero movies, you know, they always seem to have an opinion. You know, I prefer playing the good guy, or I love playing the villain, but you have had the opportunity to play both quite a few times right there. So, which one do you prefer, villain or hero?
I don't, you know, it's hard to say which I prefer. I actually did have a lot of fun playing the villain, which I didn't, early in my career, I didn't think I really wanted to play bad guys. When we're doing comedy, it's fun, it's over the top. Even with Chuck, though, because Shaw came from a real place, you know, we kind of understood why he did the things that he did, even though he was misguided, really. There was a real true place to come from, so that made that enjoyable because it was very emotional. There wasn't a lot of emotion for him at the beginning, the first like 8 episodes that I'm in until the turn, and that was really kind of interesting and more interesting as an actor because it he was more emotionally involved in what was happening. So that was great fun. But you know, the ultimate playing Superman is the ultimate in amazing opportunity. So that good guy beats any other good or bad guy role, I suppose.
There's no bigger hero. You can't top that.
Not really. I mean, I don't know. You take a poll. I put my money on Superman. I mean,
Yeah.
Hi, nice to meet you. I had a question actually about your earlier part of the career. I had heard that you actually were a bartender early in life, and if you have a favorite drink, because we are at Dragoncon, if you could
what does that mean?
recommend-
Does it mean you just drink because you're a Dragoncon?
Well, it's our favorite way but,
It's
yeah.
to celebrate Sunday.
Exactly. And if you have any preferred drinks that you'd like to share with us?
If you don't answer, I will.
Yes, I did bartend for two years, I guess, about, at a couple different places in Los Angeles. The last being Lucky Strike, which is a Lucky Strike fans, which is a really kind of hip bowling alley lounge place. They've got quite a few now across the country. Before that, I worked at Big Al's Steakhouse in Tahunga, California, which is a little bit out of Los Angeles, but it was my first bartending gig, and it was fun. I learned a lot. And I guess my favorite drink that I drink the most, I guess, is a gin or vodka gimlet. Which is, but I like to sample beer because
Beer's good.
yeah. I don't drink it as much anymore. I just can't. I still like to taste it because I'm kind of a connoisseur, but maybe because I'm getting older.
No, you're not.
But I didn't drink until I was 21. For all you younger people, and that's true. That's the truth. It's illegal.
It is.
Thank you for being here, for one thing.
Yes.
I didn't. It's not just for you. It's for the rest of the people.
I know.
But you're welcome.
What was it like working with Kevin Spacey? Your scenes with Luthor were fantastic.
It was a real treat. My only regret is that I say one line to him, and my back is turned to him, kind of, so I'm spinning around. I have a little face-off thing, and he punches me in the chest. And that was the extent of my work with Kevin Spacey. Although he was around the set, he was very cool, and I'm a fan of his work. He's an amazing actor, and really added a lot to the movie with his portrayal of Lex Luthor. And I look forward to having an opportunity to work with him again in something.
Whatever. Parker Posey was way better.
And Parker Posey is amazing. I mean, actually, she's great. She's so sweet too. One of my favorite Superman scene, I think, is of that movie, is with the stuff with Parker, both saving her from the car and then dropping her off at the hospital. It's my favorite Superman moment.
She's clever. She's great.
I really enjoyed Superman Returns, but I guess this question's more for Chuck fans. Did you know the journey that Shaw was going to take when you accepted the role, and are we going to see Shaw in season 4?
They told me that Chuck's cover was going to be working at Orange Orange, and I was really bummed that didn't happen. Because I really want, I'm joking. I wanted to wear the orange shorts. Yes, they did. I'm sorry, I want to be more like energetic. I feel like I'm energetic, but I feel like my voice is kind of, it's later in the day. I'm answering the question, which is, did I know the arc of the character? Yes, to an extent. I knew that the information about Shaw's wife and what was happening with that and who killed her. But I didn't know exactly how everything was going to happen, point to point. The show got extended. We were going to do 13 episode order that NBC had. And then halfway through that, they picked the show up for another 6 episodes. So they had to scramble a little bit to extend the storyline. So then what was going to be 8 episodes turned into 11 with the addition of 3 more episodes. So then there was some new stuff that I got to do that kind of wasn't, like the ghost, the kind of haunting Chuck in the nightmare thing. That was an added thing that kind of happened because of that. But actually, I think coming back after the Paris event happens, I think that was going to be. I'm not going to say that. I don't know. I think. You can quote me on I think, not that it's the truth. But I think that was kind of the original series, and for the season, as far as I understood. But then with the addition, they, added more stuff, which was cool. I got to have a turn, even more of a turn.
Hello.
Hi.
I was just wondering, you talked earlier about being on Zack and Miri. I was just wondering how that came about, you getting that role, and while you're on set with Kevin Smith, I know earlier in his career he actually wrote a Superman script. Did y'all two conversate about Superman or anything like that?
We did a little bit. I was a little bit nervous about the movie, meeting him, because I didn't meet him before going to set. I met him on set the first day I worked, and I knew that he'd made, and was kind of very opinionated about, he had an experience with a movie that wasn't, prior, that wasn't the best, and so I didn't know what he thought, of me, I guess. And all that, but we had a nice conversation talking about Superman and what his kind of ideas were and stuff, and that was really cool. We bonded over that a little bit, and did a little photo session, photos of us doing this together, which was kind of cool. And as far as getting attached to the movie, I guess I owe it to, as far as I understand the story, I kind of owe it to Seth Rogen and Elizabeth Banks. Kind of.
It's so hot.
Which one?
Both.
Elizabeth Banks is a beautiful woman, and she's very talented and funny. And Seth Rogen is a very talented, very funny.
Yes.
Not a beautiful woman. And they were kind of, they'd already thought of Justin, I think. They kind of they were sitting around having drinks or whatever, having dinner, and they're like, who can we cast as these, these great, little cameos? And they thought of Justin, and then I think Seth, who I met at a party, threw my name out there. And Elizabeth and I had the same agent, and she's like, yeah, that'd be great. And then Kevin thought it was cool, and there I was in Pittsburgh.
I'd just like to, first off, again, thanks for being here. For the love of God, I can't remember her name offhand, but your wife was, I found out recently via IMDb, she was on Dexter last season. She was fantastic. She was Trinity's daughter. I loved her to death, and then I found out that,
Don't say everything.
Oh, I'm
In case
sorry. Yeah, she was a prominent journalist character who was really, really good. Her art was also good, as was yours on Chuck. And I read recently that you're in a new movie coming out about a paranormal investigator archetype. I was wondering if there was some more info about that. It looks really cool, but I don't know that much about it.
I don't remember her name either. Could somebody IMDb it? Courtney Ford is her name, my lovely wife, and thank you for the compliments. She was fantastic in Dexter. She's going to be doing a little bit of work on Vampire Diaries, which is pretty exciting, and that's very cool. She works down here in Atlanta.
Yes.
So I may be back. You were asking about Dylan Dog. It's funny actually. She played reporter, and I played reporter. I actually didn't think about that though right now. Kind of runs in the.
Well, he was also asking
family.
about something that's upcoming for you.
Yeah, he's asking about Dylan Dog, who I played private investigator. Dylan Dog is based on an Italian comic by the same name, Dylan Dog. And Dylan investigates paranormal and undead activity kind of. So the movie involves vampires and werewolves and zombies. It's kind of an action comedy horror movie, but not like gory horror. It's kind of like
Van Helsing horror.
not hopefully maybe not as campy as that.
That's why I'm really very good
I don't
at things
think-
like that.
Maybe it is, and that's what's funny. Whatever, however you take it, anyway. But it's a really I think it's funny. Sam Huntington, who played Jimmy Olsen in Superman Returns, plays my partner, or my assistant, who wants to be my partner. So it's a great little kind of like the Odd Couple buddy relationship, buddy comedy that happens in the movie. He's also going to be in Being Normal, which is a new sci-fi show that'll be out, I guess, next year, based on a BBC show. So watch for that when it comes out, because he's extremely talented and funny. Did that answer the question? I think, yeah.
Alright, so if you got to play Superman again and went up against a Bizarro character, what actor other than yourself would you pick to play it? What would be the antithesis of you?
Antithesis of me.
Seth Rogen.
Seth
Seth
Rogen.
Rogen. Or Zack Galifianakis.
Zack Galifianakis. Michael Cera. I mean, that's kind of a little bit in Scott Pilgrim, the dynamic that's going. So I'm more Bizarro. It's kind of like Bizarro Superman tottering up there, in a way. I might go with Vince Vaughn. I don't know, like he's physically, he could, measure. I mean,
He's not ugly, yeah.
he's like macho and exuberant and really funny. And
Or Patrick Warburton.
Patrick Warburton would be good. He's not evil, but he's a great Superman. I mean, and this gets the part, the stuff that he's done prior involving Superman. Yeah. Any of those, or maybe a woman would be complete opposite of me.
I hear Sarah Palin needs a job.
I can say, of all the people we mentioned, she is probably the most opposite in so many ways. Everything that she is, I am not.
In addition to the next question, we have something that
Ooh.
for your baking.
Nathan, will you come and get the wedding ring or flowers or candy? I hope it's candy. He won't eat it.
It is, on the other hand, a really great honor to be here today and to just be talking to you. I want to gush all over my You played Superman, you played Todd Ingram and Scott Pilgrim, and you're going to be playing Dylan Dog. Do you just really read a lot of comic books? I mean, do you seek out comic book roles? I know it's sort of becoming a resurgence in movies lately.
I honestly, I don't read a lot of comics, contrary to, I think, what might say on my IMDb or my Wikipedia page or something like that. I've read many more now in the last 5 years since I've become more involved in the genre. And that's not to say that I'm not geeky or nerdy, because I am all of those things, but when I was growing up, my genre was fantasy, so I read a lot of Terry Brooks and Terry Goodkind, and Robert Jordan series. Dragon Warrior was my favorite game for a very long time on the Nintendo. So that's where my geek lies, geekdom lies. But I do enjoy reading stuff. I mean, Scott Pilgrim is, I think, just genius. Brian Lee O'Malley, is a really kind of different type of comic. I've never read anything as funny as that series of books. I really enjoyed that. I've read some more of Platinum Studios stuff because they had the rights and they produced Dylan Dog. I really like the Dylan Dog comics, so there are only 6 that are translated into English because it's Italian. Most of them are Italian. But my friend, oddly enough, one of my first friends in Los Angeles, lived in Italy for like 7 years growing up because his dad worked there, and so he was always talking about Dylan Dog. That's how if you're Italian, you would say it. And he doesn't speak like that, but he can speak Italian. And he had all these books, and so he showed me. He's like, "Well, look at this. This is what I read growing up. These are my comic books." I said, "Oh, that's so cool." So when my agent called and said, "There's a script. They kind of want to meet you. They want to offer you this part for Dylan Dog." I was like, "Wait, Dylan Dog? I feel like I know that." And I called him my friend, and he's like, "Yeah, that's awesome." He's like, for me, that's more cool than you playing Superman." So I guess because I played Superman, obviously that. Hi, everybody over here. I'm looking more over here. Yeah, answer any questions. They kind of, come to me because it's the genre. It has to be a genre that I enjoy, all the science fiction, fantasy, and it's a medium that's really hot and really very creative. Hollywood makes a lot of redos a lot of movies that maybe they shouldn't, and a lot of original ideas are lost. And so we find that more in the comic book world, which is great because there are amazing artists, people writing the books, drawing the books, coloring the books, that now have opportunity to have that their stuff shown reach more audiences, and that's really cool. And it celebrates creativity, so I'm excited about that.
Now, you had just mentioned that you've read Robert Jordan. Have you read all of the Wheel of Time series?
I have not read. I've had book 9, I think, for about 2 years.
So you played through 8. First 8.
Which 8? Which was 8 called?
Big, 1,000 pages.
Path of Daggers, wasn't that like
Is that
8? I think it's Path of Daggers.
Does anybody know who are Robert Jordan fans?
So I think I'm on 9.
Elaine's half brother. What do you think?
Oh,
the perfect one.
Yeah. I'm not gonna remember his name right now. It's been that long.
Was it Galad? Yeah.
Yeah, Galad. I was like, Land.
You're not old enough to play Land. Exactly. I was just sitting here thinking,
why can't I be Rand? Because I don't have gray eyes.
Randall Thor? Make his hair a little red? Yeah.
Anyway, we're alienating part of the audience.
Wheel of Time needs to be made. I don't care what anybody says.
How could you ever do that? That'd be
12 years of your life.
I really would like to see. Well, they did do it. There's a TV series that Sam Raimi did of Sword of Truth, but I'd like to see that as a movie. Not to begrudge the actors, anybody, because it's cool, but I'd like to play Richard. Anyway, film adaptation. What's the question? Oh, have I finished? Anyway, no, I haven't finished. I apologize
That you've not finished the series. Because you're missing.
Is the last book out? That
No,
his
2
son
more.
is- his
2.
son is,
What's his son? It's a friend.
friend is finishing the last one.
It's supposed to be 1, but there's so much. It's 3. 1 of them is out.
Are you serious?
Yeah, everybody's like, oh my god, I can't take it anymore. But
I can't wait to find out what they're wearing now.
no, edited. I cried tears of joy. Much thinner novel, got to the point. Next question.
Wow, see, I am a nerd.
We're total nerds. It's like, Robert Jordan, let's go.
Woo!
You're in the right place then.
I'm at home.
I actually have the mama Steel back here, and she has a gift for you as well.
Oh,
Awesome.
This
Hit it,
cookies.
Nathan.
I can only eat
Today
vegan
is
cookies.
Martha Chancellor. I'm the mom of Steel, and I would like to say that I think for a fact that Superman did not drink before he was 21, and I think my son is super. And I've been handing out these fun things to people, and I thought I'd give you some too.
Oh, thank you.
I think you're awesome.
Oh.
Super.
Oh, thank you very much.
Oh, nice.
You can't punch boys who call you 4 eyes. What would Martha say? Oh. What would WWMS? That's cool. What would Martha say? I tripped over your cape again. Hang it up now. That's a good. My grandma used to watch TV, like lie on my stomach and watch TV in front of her TV, right in the way of the walkway. She'd always say, "Get out of the traffic way so people don't trip on you." That wasn't that funny. It just made me the joke didn't really work there.
Did you move out of the way?
Yes, but I always ended up rolling back, banging away again. It was better vision for the TV? That's
As
cute.
a threat, being a comic book nerd growing up, I would often have arguments with my friends and fellow geeks who would win a fight, Hulk or Superman. And while I didn't get a chance to see him just yet, I'm not sure if he's still in town, but
I think Lou left.
yeah.
He said goodbye.
Apparently, Lou Ferrigno, was in the Dragoncon right there. So if this was an alternate dimension, who would win in a fight, the Hulk or Superman, right?
Well, not to take anything away from the Hulk, but you know, it's Superman. There's no, you can't come up. What argument can you come up with? The only, Darkseid versus Superman, then you're talking about something. But other than that, it's hard to imagine what's the challenge.
What about the Hulk that gets bigger as he takes more punishment?
He absorbs,
Yeah, and he grows
energy.
larger and larger.
If his green skin was made of kryptonite,
Ooh.
if it was like kryptonite sheen or something, then that would be an issue, more challenging. Just thinking outside the box.
Somebody write it, copyright it, do it, go.
It's been done?
Of course, why not? Said Superman won.
Did he scalp him or something?
He just turned back into Bruce.
Not really
Dumped
for
into
kids,
Bruce.
that one.
Yeah. Next question. What you got, Sarah?
Got me.
Oh, okay. Do it.
I had a question for you about Christian Bale and World's Finest, and if you had any ideas, thoughts, comments about that?
I think that, sorry, a collision of thoughts going in my head. Sure, why not? I mentioned the question, years ago, people would ask about Superman versus Batman. And my response, as lame as it is, why would Superman need to fight Batman? They should work together and all that. Which, I think is the idea with World's Finest, right? So, I think it's exciting. Look, Marvel's doing that, setting up the Avengers, and that's exciting. I'm eager to see how they do it and make it plausible and real, with all those superheroes in one world. But they've done a nice job establishing all their core heroes for those that are out there. And I'd love to see Marvel be able to do more of that, whether it's JLA or something like that. I think World's Finest would be a stepping stone, anyway, to have Superman and Batman in the same world coexist. I think Christian Bale's great. He's a great Batman, and nice guy. The few times that I've met him, sure.
Brian Singer said in a lot of interviews, basically, that he was making Superman Returns as a sequel to the Richard Donner cut of the Tom Mankiewicz script of Superman 2. So what exposure did he give you to the original Donner footage or the Mankiewicz script as opposed to the theatrically released Superman 2 before making Returns?
Hi, David. What exposure did he give me to the original, you're saying?
Cut or the Tom Mankiewicz
Oh,
original script, not the Richard Lester version that was
Yeah, right. Well, it was taken off of the cut that is, they re-released Donner's cut, right, after Superman Returns came out, so we didn't really have that. Although I think we kind of decided to throw away some of the things that were in, that were not in the part that was redone, that wasn't Donner's version. Like the kiss to make her. Well, I guess that kind of plays a little bit, doesn't it? But I'm making my brain hurt right now. I'll just say this: I knew the movies specifically the first two, which I'd watched many times growing up. And that was influential in Brian and Mike Doherty and Dan Harris's script. So it was kind of important for me to know that, and to know how Chris Reeves was and acted, even though my portrayal wasn't a direct, wasn't a copy of him. There are many similarities. For one, because we have a similar look, and it was important to have a similar feel and tone for the character because the movie was a somewhat of a sequel. So it played heavily. It was a part. It was influential, and that was Brian's wish. Yeah.
Well done.
Hi. I have this video that you're in. It's on my iPod, and you did with Cal Penn called The Avon Lady.
The Avon Lady, part one.
Yeah. Would you do any more like videos like that? I think you're really. I love when you do comedy stuff too.
Thanks very much.
That would be great to see.
I look forward to the Avon Lady Part 2. I've been talking to Cal about that for some time, but we may get back to that at some point. Thanks for watching. That was a few years ago. Actually, there's a video on, there are a couple of videos that I have done, viral videos, I guess, or what have you, on Funny or Die. There's one called, I never remember the name of it, Vampire.
I've just seen the tweet.
Vampax. It's called Vampax. Not necessarily okay for younger viewers because it's kind of like silly and stupid and maybe not appropriate, but it's pretty funny. A spoof of Twilight. And there's also some videos on YouTube and I think on Funny or Die too. My friend, a couple friends who are in a comedy improv troupe called Rigor Tortoise. I'm not going to spell it. R-I-G-O-R and then Tortoise. And if you search them on YouTube, I think they have a website too. There are a couple of videos that I've done through them. My name's attached, linked to it or whatever. So one where I play a bear.
What kind of bear?
I'm a man who wants to be a real bear living in the woods. It's really bizarre, but it's kind of funny. And then the other one is I want to be a part of their troupe. I want to be part of their improv group. And my wife did one too, which is really funny, called Bad Spell Check Theater. So if you're really bored, you can check that stuff out. That was during the writer's strike, a lot of that stuff, so.
Yeah. Hi, Brandon. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
The question I have is about the footage that you filmed for Superman Returns that no one's ever seen. The stuff that got cut that Brian was hoping to use for maybe a sequel. Is there stuff that you've seen that you wish that was out there for us to see?
Selfishly, yes and no. There's some really cool stuff, and we spent a lot of time filming the pod traveling back to what was left of Krypton, and some really kind of cool visual effects and stuff that they did of shots of the ship hovering over, like what I think said, what's left of New Krypton, and the kryptonite kind of being exposed, and then I realized that, and getting sick, and command the ship back home. But it was a strange thing. It's one of those things where you're reacting to nothing. Imagine that there's a big, family crest here. Now you're getting sicker and all this kind of stuff. So, and there's no dialogue. It's just me in this crystal ship, which is really neat. And they did it. Guy Dias, who did all the set stuff. It was amazing. Really outdid himself in that. But so that's all cool. I'm not necessarily happy with everything. My favorite performance, I guess, in mine. So anyway, I'll say that. I'm okay to say that. But it would have been fine to have in there. Just when I watch it, I'm like,
Will it ever see the light of day?
I don't know. 50 years from now. If somebody wants to make money, I think they can make money at it. I'm sure it'll be there.
Hi, I'm a big fitness buff, and it's one thing I like about Superman is, he's a great model for, fitness people, and he's obviously in shape, and so are you, and I know you always stay in shape, I wanted to ask, how you work out for a role like Superman, because obviously, like when Hugh Jackman goes back to Wolverine, they're always covering like his workout regime, but I wanted to know, was there any input between you and Bryan Singer? Like, did he ever want you to get like certain parts of your body more in shape than others, or do you just go to the gym and like do your own thing and hope that it's what he wants?
Well, I had a trainer for the movie, a couple trainers actually on the film, and the idea at the beginning was just to get, grow and everything, just to get to be a bigger person, basically. Because when I started the movie, I think I weighed 206. I leaned down to 194, something like that, which is probably the leanest I've been since high school. And then built back up over the next, I think, 3 to 4 months, topping out at like 225, I think is what I was during the hospital scene. There was a point that I couldn't get any bigger because the suit really, they were having trouble zipping the suit up, which was somewhat unfortunate because I could have gotten it was fun at that point. I was like, oh, I'm into it, and having a good time with it. So that was just that was a rush. That was a crash course in putting on muscle mass. So we didn't get to do a lot of fine tuning. I've had the opportunity now, just for the heck of it, because I don't know what is going to happen in the future with this role or any other role. But I've come across another trainer who's been really great. He's a former bodybuilder, so I've been working with him. Not exciting for most of you. Shaping my body, doing various different types of lifting and training techniques because he knows how to do that. And so I've seen significant changes in positive ways in that, and how I've been able to balance my physique, I guess. So it's fun. Getting up in the morning to do it is not fun. But
Last question.
I came in late, so sorry if you already talked about this, but
too late. Okay.
What was it like filming the Dylan Dog Dead of Night movie, and when is it coming out?
I don't know. Sometime next year, I suppose. It was a lot of fun. We filmed down in New Orleans, which is a great city. It was my first time down there. Had a lot of fun. Ate great food. Well taken care of. I got to opportunity to work with one of my best friends, Sam Huntington, who became really good friends after Superman Returns, and he's just fascinatingly funny in the movie. I'm so excited it was so exciting to work with him again and to be in a lot of the movie with him, and also cool to play a little bit darker of a character, kind of a more moody, sarcastic character, which just a lot of fun. I didn't have to be on or all the time. And I got to shoot a lot of guns, which is kind of cool. I mean, I'm not really a gun guy, but it's still kind of fun to shoot blanks. But it's still kind of fun shooting zombies and do a little fight. I didn't really know any fighting before that. Subsequently on Chuck, I did a lot. But that was my first exposure to real fighting, so that was fun. I remember doing learning the first choreography for my first fight scene, and I was like, this is cool. I can't believe I've been an actor this long and not really done any of it, so I had a great time.
Will you come back and play with us at Dragoncon again?
I would love to. I had a great time. Everyone's been...
Well, that's it. Thank you very much, Brandon.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.